So we're back and we're here with Alexander G in studio. How's it going, Alex?
Going pretty good.
Okay, well, I brought you in because I want to talk to you about a couple things. I got questions. I have questions specifically about bass.
Okay.
Now, we can sit here and talk about Pro Gear, and we'll be here for weeks and weeks talking about all the pickups and all that good stuff. But what I was going to ask you was, if I'm going to get into playing bass and I want to get in on a budget, I just want to barely start learning. I know I'm serious about it. What kind of stuff would I get? I've seen some of these jam packs, and then you have stuff like that, but it seems like you would outgrow the amp maybe, like real quick, and it doesn't seem like it'd be very fun to play. What are some of the things that you would suggest?
Well, like I said, the jam packs are pretty cool. But the only beef that I have with those is the fact that the amplifiers that come in the packages, they're extremely underpowered, really not worth it. I've seen people buy these things and actually buy a bigger amp with them. Maybe like a 25 or maybe even a 50 watt amp.
Okay. Now, I see a lot of amps out there on the market. You got Behringer making them. You got, I guess this acoustic one makes one.
Oh, acoustic is great.
Yeah.
Really
you got Crate. You got Fender, and you even have Line 6 that's coming out with some good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So what should a beginner start with? Like, how many watts? What kind of, where should they be?
I would probably go, well, definitely not a 10 watt amp, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's really not going to allow you to really hear, what your bass sounds like.
Right. And that's like, what, an 8-inch speaker or something like
if
that?
Yeah.
If
that. I would probably go with like a little, now I think like the minimum is like 30 watts now, but there's still, these jam packs have like 15 watts in them now. And that's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you're not going to wake the neighbors.
No,
not with a 10 watt.
No. I have other ways of doing that.
Yeah, we'll get into your gear later. It's some serious stuff. But for the person starting out, are there certain jam packs they should be looking at? Are there certain brands of guitars or basses? And because I know my daughter herself has an Ibanez, and I was surprised at the sound I was getting out of that.
Oh yeah, she's got a pretty good bass. All Ibanez basses are really good. And in fact, my very first bass was an Ibanez GSR 200. Mm-hmm. But I went with the old rule, swap out the pickups and strings the first split second you get it. So What I ended up doing was after I played the bass for a little while, got used to it, really understood, the tone, the sound of it. I went and put in some EMG pickups, which are still in the bass today.
Oh wow, that's a serious step up for the Ibanez.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's hot rodding. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're looking at about between 30 to 60 watts, a decent guitar, a decent bass, and would you suggest that they start on any stomp boxes, any effects like that,
no.
Or should wait till they get their tone down?
Yeah,
wait till
exactly.
They learn some stuff?
Learn the basic tone of the bass. I wouldn't even worry about stomp boxes right away at all.
Okay. Now I know it's hard for bass musicians to find music, and the internet's a wonderful thing to get into. I mean, you got places where you can find bass tabs. You got YouTube. You just got a wealth of things you can do. What are some of the things that you do when, like, let's say you're at home, you just just fooling around, you want to learn something, or there's an old song that you just want to learn. What's some of the things that you do?
There's actually a couple things that I do. Number one, I've learned all my notes, my scales, chords, and all that stuff. So usually I figure them out by ear.
Right.
Which is fun. I like doing that. It's pretty cool because right away I'll know if I screwed up on a note or something.
Right.
But another form of media which is really good to learn off of, it's just straight to the point, is just using good bass tablature, which is really cool to learn songs off of.
Mm-hmm. I've also heard that if you get the chords from the actual guitar part of it, you can pretty much figure out what the bass chords or the bass notes are supposed to be.
Yeah, you can.
Just by the root?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now, say I've learned all that, and now I'm going to join a band, and there's a drummer there, but we don't have enough money for a PA system, but we just want to jam in the garage, or maybe even do a couple gigs later on. What should I be at as far as wattage, just so that I can compete with the drums?
I would go anywhere from probably from 60 to 100 watts.
Okay.
From 60 to 100, because some of the little 60 watt amps that are out there, they really they pack a little punch, and those things are loud.
Okay. Okay. Now let's get into your stuff.
Oh,
yeah, the
here
pro
we
stuff.
go.
So, how do you get your sound? I mean, you have a unique sound to your stuff, and I know you play 8-string, and how do you shape your sound? How did you find it?
Interesting approach to that one. How I get my sound is really no big air of mystery at all. It's really not. I try to. One thing I will say this: I try to set myself apart from other musicians because, and the reason being that I say that is because they don't like to give away their tone secrets.
Right.
And to me, I think that's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's insulting to the fans that approach them and want to know how they get their tone.
Right.
It's stupid, very disrespectful. Because I've had a lot of people come up to me after shows. I remember one in particular. I was doing a show at a place that I won't mention. It was in the city of Pomona, California. Like I said, I will not mention the venue. I had a couple people come up to me, a couple teenagers, actually. That's one thing I really like about the appeal of the music that I do, is that it goes all ages.
Mm-hmm.
I don't limit myself to one particular musical style. But I had this one kid, he was about 16, 17 years old. I guess he was just barely been playing a few years. And he heard some of the stuff that I was doing. And he come up to me and he asked me, I said, how do you get your sound? How do you do that swirly effect? And I says, which one? I was like, this one? So I hit the pedal, and he's like, that's the one. This one piece of effect gear that I have, it's made by a company called Boss. It's called the DE200.
Uh-huh.
This thing's about as old as I am. I'm 28 years old.
Okay.
Good luck finding one. That's all I can say. Good luck finding one. That's actually a really cool piece of gear. It's actually the oldest piece of gear that I have in my entire setup. But that one was an influence that I got from my guitar player, Tracy G from Dio.
Okay.
As we were talking about him earlier, and all this. He uses one for his guitar. I was like, you know what? Okay. I like doing stupid stuff in the studio, so it's like, you know what? Let me get one of those. I applied it to bass. A lot of fun using it.
Okay.
But as far as like when you hear like the real prettier stuff, like the real melodic stuff, especially like what you're hearing like in This Is Your Life and
right.
Songs like that. That one I use a lot of chorus, reverb, delay. Those are really the main effects that I use, to give that spooky tone with the 8-string bass.
Uh-huh.
The specific chorus that I use is a Boss CEB3 bass chorus. It's killer pedal. I love using it.
That's a great,
it's an awesome
piece.
thing. And what's really cool about it too is that I've had that pedal for 10 years, dude.
Okay.
And that thing has still not broken down on me whatsoever.
Yeah, so some of them they go out real quick.
They do, and like with the reverb that I use the Electro Harmonics Holy Grail, which is a time-honored effect. And anybody out there that's listening and knows the pedals, you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
And as far as my delay unit that I use, Boss doesn't make it anymore. It's called RV3. It's a digital reverb and delay pedal.
Okay.
It's really cool. I love that thing. That's actually my pride and joy effect on there. But I have a couple other goodies that I use. I use an octave pedal, which is made by MXR, the Bass Octave Deluxe. Awesome pedal. Then I got the Dunlop 105Q bass wah, which I love. As far as my distortion, I actually use two types of distortions. One of them is made by a company called Rocktron. It's called the Zombie. It's a rectified distortion.
Okay.
But they don't make that one anymore. They're still out there. You can find them. I use that. But up until recently, I was actually introduced to a company called Delta Lab.
Mm-hmm.
They should actually be sold for more money than what they're being sold for, because the quality of these pedals were unbelievable. I bought their tube overdrive pedal and applied it to bass, and it gives me just a really good bass overdrive tone. Kind of like if you ever listen to Kiss, you listen to Gene Simmons bass.
Okay.
The way he plays on certain songs. When he's playing live, you hear that real raunchy sound that he has out of his basses, out of his rig. It sounds like that.
Oh, wow.
I'm using that. It's the TO1. I'm using that right now. As far as cleaning the sound up, I use the MXR 10-band EQ. which is really cool. Really shapes the tone. EQ is very, very, very crucial to a good tight sound.
Now, does it matter whether you go with a 7-band, a 10-band, a 20-band? I mean, is
20-band EQs, that's more for like pro audio,
right?
You know, and you know, like full-on PA systems. I wouldn't even worry about that. But if you're doing something for, you know, guitar or bass, you get away with a 7-band or 10-band.
Okay. Okay. Now I see this mountain of speakers here.
Yeah, that's my stage rig called the Judge. I'm running a 1200 watt system. I'm not gonna say who the amp is made by. They will not get credit from me. That's a long story on that one.
Okay.
But, as far as my cabs, I'm using the Hartke X series. I'm using the 410. I'm using the Dual 15.
Okay. Looks good. Looks good. So, what would you suggest to people coming out? What's the first stomp box they should be focused on? Because I know some people are saying, well, I need distortion, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. Would it be an EQ? Would it be a distortion? What would help someone get a better sound?
Oh, that's real easy. EQ.
EQ.
Because it straightens out your tone, bottom line.
Okay.
You know, as far as actual effects like chorus and distortion, yeah, they're fun. I mean, those toys are fun. You know, I love using them, but you got to learn how to use the pedal. And the reason why I say you got to learn how to use it is because a lot of guitar players, and we know who we're talking about here, a lot of guitar players use their effects to drive their sound. Like one thing that I really trip out about what Tracy G does when we're in the studio, he uses tones that are just unbelievable just from his guitar. He uses pedals too. You know, we both use them, but we both know what we're doing.
Right.
You know, these other guitar players, they rely on them, and even bass players. There's a couple bass players that I've heard out there that rely on pedals, and I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're taking away from everything.
So it's replacing talent with boxes.
Exactly, and that's why I think like a first pedal, you know, like mine was an EQ. You know, a very first pedal was a Boss GE B7 EQ because I wanted to learn how to shape my tone.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, Alexander, thanks for joining us in the studio.
Oh, thanks for having me out.
Can you go ahead and let us know where we can hear some of your music?
Yeah, there's actually a few sites that you could find me on. You can actually find me on Facebook.com, as everybody. Find me there, Facebook.com/official G-Bass Music, all lowercase, you know, nothing fancy, nothing stupid. Yeah, I'm also on Twitter. Another thing, you know, everyone's on there. Find me at Alexander_G-Bass, all lowercase letters. You know, send me a follow, send me a like on Facebook, drop by, say hello. You can also find me on YouTube. Just type in official G-Bass Music. Find me there.
Sounds good. Thanks for joining us.
All right, take care.